hammered, and Billy Martin and the Yankees want the bat. Look at Martin.
Well, what they're talking about, Frank, is that he's got too much fine tar, and you've got to have a certain amount of distance from the trademark of the bat and the fine tar.
And Nettles is leaving the field as if the game is over. Albie's just coming in.
I'm not sure. They might have a legitimate gripe. They might be going to call George Brett out.
Well, the Yankees win. He's out.
Yes,
Brett is out. Look at this. Brett is out. And
the team is mad.
He is out and having to be forcibly restrained from hitting plate umpire Tim McClellan.
And welcome back to Too Much Pod Tar.
As always, I'm your host, Alex Keeler. And joining me today is Jamie Gatlin. He's on Twitter at JamieGatlin1217 at JamieGatlin 1217. And I started off doing kind of daily episodes, and we're still gonna do these weekly episodes, recording them every Sunday. So this is another one. This is our 22nd episode. So we've been doing this for a pretty long time. So, what's going on, Jamie?
Nothing much. It was a fun week of baseball. Some interesting stuff went down today too.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that a lot more in a little while. But we're now 2 weeks away from the All-Star break. So, and teams are starting to shape up to where we thought they'd be. Major award candidates are surfacing, and maybe next week or the week after, we're probably gonna do an episode where we hand out the first half's awards, and then kind of give our predictions for what the awards are going to be at the end of the season. Kind of like the first episode we did there, we did like predictions for all the divisions and like MVP and Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, all that stuff. So.
See how on track we are almost.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about mine. MVP for the American League, I'm not really, because I picked Judge for the American League, so he's been injured, so he's probably not going to win it. And I mean, unless he has a really awesome second half. So
I think I put Chapman. I think he has 17 home runs, but his average is only 260. So I don't know. I don't know how that one's gonna.
Yeah. We'll see though. It's tough to predict those kind of things. Like anything can happen in baseball. So
yeah.
I mean, you got guys that just kind of find their way in there. That you never thought would have a good season. Like those guys. Gio Urshela of the Yankees. Who would have thought he would be having such a good season right now?
Yeah, Hunter Pence too.
Yeah, Hunter Pence is. There's a lot of guys that you can list.
That's why I love baseball.
Yeah. And then the same thing with teams. Like, there's a lot of teams that just kind of surprise you right now. The Rangers, they're only right. I think what are they? They're either a game or 2 games back of the second wild card right now, and I never thought they'd be there right now, but they're just still hanging around. But
yeah, their rotation at the beginning of the year was scary. I thought, not in a good way. So that's been impressive.
Yeah, like Mike Minor is their ace, and he's been pitching good. So yeah, so I guess we can jump into our first topic here. On Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday that they announced the finalists for the All-Star Game balloting.
Yeah,
and this year it's different than every other year. Well, they have finalists top 3 for every position. I mean, every infield position, and then the outfield they have 9. So for the catcher for the American League, the top 3 are Gary Sanchez of the Yankees, James McCann of the White Sox, Robinson Chirinos of the Astros, and then the NL is Wilson Contreras of the Cubs, Brian McCann of the Braves, and then Yasmani Grandal of the Brewers. So what are your thoughts on those right now? Do you think those are the guys that deserve to be looked at for
I think
the All-Star Game?
For the AL, I like those. I think maybe Christian Vasquez should have been put in there, but I mean Sanchez has had a good year. And for the NL, kind of the same thing. I like McCann because he's had a bounce back here, but also Contreras, he's been great again. So I like those.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say too with the American League, there hasn't really been any that good of a catcher besides Sanchez this year. So he's the obvious choice there, and I've talked before on the show, but he's definitely going to end up being in the running for comeback player of the year. He's probably leading right now for that because he's just had an unbelievable season so far with his offense. He's leading. He's tied for their home run lead right now with his teammate Encarnacion, his new teammate. So they both have, I believe, right now 22 home runs. So.
Especially with all the injuries they've dealt with. That's been impressive.
It's been awesome to see as a Yankees fan. Obviously, for your sake, probably not as much.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, with him though, he's a guy I like playing. I like watching him just because I feel like at the plate is exciting to watch. Which with the state of the catchers, as you touched on earlier, it's kind of a black hole to sort of see a catcher like that have that presence in the box and have the power he has. It's even as a Red Sox fan, it's fair to say that's still something that I like to watch.
For sure, for me too, I enjoy seeing Mookie play. He's a phenomenal player, an athlete. You can't say I can never say I hate him. I hate the Red Sox, but I don't hate those. I don't hate him. He's a great guy. He's a great player. So, and then moving over to first base. You got another Yankee, Luke Voigt, leading in the American League, and then Carlos Santana of the Indians and C.J. Cron of the Twins. And then the National League, Freddie Freeman of the Braves, Josh Bell of the Pirates, and Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs. And those are pretty good right now too. I think it'll end up being. I think Voigt will end up starting, and I'm kind of going for Josh Bell to start for the National League. He's just had a really impressive breakout year so far. And I know you wrote an article earlier, so you probably want to talk about him a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with those, and I love Voigt because of his power, but Bell, especially with the injuries the Pirates dealt with early in the year, they've struggled of late, but he's kind of carried them, and it's kind of nice to see just because when he first got called up, they said he was gonna be the first baseman of the future, and then last year he was okay. So a lot of people were down on him coming into this year, but he has 66 RBIs so far. He has 22 home runs. Why I think he should be All-Star too is kind of, the Pirates, they haven't had Corey Dickerson for a good chunk. They've missed some key guys in front of him, but he's still ranked and he's still been one of the best regardless of who's in front of him.
But, he's just, honestly, he could right now be one of the MVP candidates. So for the first half of the season at least. So
yeah.
He's definitely a dark horse right now for that, but we'll see what happens. I think he'll definitely be in the All-Star game. He should definitely be there. Moving on to second base, we got Tommy La Stella of the Angels leading in the American League, then Jose Altuve of the Astros, and then DJ LeMahieu of the Yankees. And then even though he doesn't really have a position per se, he's kind of just he plays all over the place, but second base is obviously his natural position. But
so
go ahead.
I was gonna say Sox fans would hate me for this, but I'm gonna go with LeMahieu for second base again. I'm going with another Yankee.
Yeah, he definitely should start. He's been just having an unreal season. His batting average with the runners at score position is like 420 or something crazy like that. And he's just been coming in clutch for in every single moment for the Yankees. And he's, with all these injuries, it's been amazing just to have him step in every single situation.
Yeah.
He definitely the the best free agent signing.
Yeah, stay on him. It was 2 years, right?
I believe so. Yeah. And it was cheap too. It was like $12 million a year, I think it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say around 10.
Yeah. Then going to the National League, Ozzie Albies of the Braves, Mike Moustakas of the Brewers, and Ketel Marte of the D-backs. So those are definitely solid guys there. Yeah, so that sucks as he just it's just before the All-Star break. He got injured now and out for the year. So D-backs are, I thought maybe they'd have a chance to fight for a wild card, but at this point they're done for now. So, but after that, especially after hearing that, they're not going to have a chance.
Yeah, because I don't even know who they have back to back him up. Is it Del Scouso? No, he's on the Cubs.
Yeah, I guess I'd go for Albies then, since it's not going to be Marte. I think Albies should be the starter for that.
Yeah,
so Albies and LeMahieu. Yeah. And then going to shortstop, top three are Jorge Polanco of the Twins, Carlos Correa of the Astros, and Gleyber Torres of the Yankees. So another Yankee in there. I think it should be Polanco starting. He's just having a crazy year. And obviously Correa has been hurt a bit this year, so he hasn't been playing as much. But Polanco, he had that we talked about in one of our earlier episodes about when he had the first cycle of the year, and since then he's been putting up really good numbers. So I definitely think it should be him that starts.
Yeah, I agree. He kind of has the Marte factor again with the whole under the radar thing, but he's been so big for what the Twins have done so far. He'd be my pick. Even though I think Xander kind of got snubbed, but even if Xander was one of the final three, I'd still go with Polanco on that.
I definitely agree with that, though. Even as a Yankees fan, I agree with that. He was snubbed for that. And then National League, you got Javi Baez, the Cubs, Dansby Swanson, the Braves, and Trevor Story, the Rockies. And I'd definitely go with Baez there. He's just unreal. He's like, I saw, what was it? This one stat somebody sent in the group chat for the Score Crow. It was just a crazy stat. Oh, here it is. So Javi Baez is in 73 plate appearances after falling behind 0-2 in the count this year. He's 21 for 71, 6 doubles, 9 home runs, and it's 296, 315, 761 slash line. And the MLB average slash line after 0-2 counts this year is 165, 196, and 268. So that's just insane.
Yeah, I mean he's a guy that I love playing. Like I love watching playing, especially out of everyone on the Cubs. Just because I feel like his presence in the box and also just offensively, I mean, that shows how good of a hitter he is. But when he makes contact and crushes the ball, it's something special to watch.
Yeah, for sure. And his base running is phenomenal too. The way he does that swim move and everything, and he has really good defense too. So
his tags at second are always interesting.
Yeah, I know. If we had Joey on tonight, he'd be talking a lot about him. So.
Well, I know.
But sadly, he couldn't make it on. But moving to third base, we got for the American League, Alex Bregman of the Astros, Gio Urshela of the Yankees, and Hunter Dozier of the Royals. And even though I'm a Yankees fan, Urshela shouldn't be. I don't think he should be in the top three. Chapman definitely got snubbed there. He should have been in there for sure. But I do think it should be Bregman that starts. So.
Yeah, I had Bregman too. I like Hunter Dozier too, just because he's swinging 314, I think. But I'll definitely go with Bregman because of his power. He has, I think it's 21 home runs so far. So
yeah. So he's been one of my front runners for MVP so far too. So him and Springer out for the Astros are probably up there for MVP right now.
Those are good picks.
Yeah. So going to the National League, we got a pretty obvious pick for number one, Nolan Arenado, the Rockies, Chris Bryant of the Cubs, and Josh Donaldson of the Braves. Donaldson's after getting signed by the Braves this offseason, he's putting up a really good season. So he could definitely maybe find himself as a reserve. But Arenado should definitely be starting. He's we all know what he can do.
Yeah. Because it's just his I mean, he's so good offensively, but defensively too, he's amazing to watch. But I think Donaldson. I would love if Donaldson was a reserve just because of what he went through just to get back.
Yeah, for sure. It's been pretty cool to see that. And then going to the outfield, you got for the American League, Mike Trout, the obvious pick for number one. definitely going to be starting in center field. George Springer and Michael Brantley. Michael Brantley, he was another big free agency pickup for the Astros. Probably the second best one behind LeMahieu. He's been having a really solid season, and it shows you how stupid the Indians were for letting him go. Because now the Indians desperately need somebody in the outfield, an extra outfield bat, and they see him just putting up great numbers for the Astros, and they're just kicking themselves now.
Because he's hitting 320, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I had Meadows in there too. I know he's come down to earth, but he got off to such a hot start.
Yeah, so the Meadows is number 4 right now. So they got the outfield. It's top 9. So it's Meadows and then Mookie Betts. So you finally got a Red Sox in there.
I know,
and he's definitely worthy.
Yeah.
And Eddie Rosario of the Twins. Aaron, this is where it gets. This is why I honestly really hate the fan vote. Even saying this as a Yankees fan, Aaron Judge is in there in the final vote, and he's been injured. He's been out for 2 months, and why is he even in the vote here for the All-Star game? Like, he shouldn't. If you're injured, I don't think you should even be on the ballot at all, to be honest.
No, I agree. I saw that. I was surprised when I first saw his name on there. I was like, I mean, obviously he has a big name, but I thought the whole injury thing would keep him off. But
yeah, it's just like a popularity contest at this point. Like,
yeah.
I think it would definitely be a lot better if they did kind of what the NBA does with combining fan vote, manager voting and player voting. If they did something like that, it would probably be a lot better. Just like pick the guys that actually should be in there, like everybody believes that should be in there.
Yeah, I like Tony Pham. Brought that up on Tampa too a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
I know they've been doing this certain way for so long, but I just feel like there should be a better way to do it. Just because I feel like every year there's about 10 guys that you can look at and be like, they really should have been in there, as opposed to these guys who, they've done well, so they're worthy of the attention they get. But when it comes to this type of thing, sometimes they get in when they don't necessarily have the numbers.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. They tried to change it up this year, but it's like not really changing that much. It's just having, top 3 and then top 9 for your outfield. So it's like, and then voting again on those guys. So I don't know. I guess it does kind of change a little bit because you take out other fans that other fans are going to be voting the second time. You're going to take out like a Marlins fan voting or whatever. So it's, I don't know. I guess you add more votes to the other guys that are more deserving. So I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see how it goes. So the voting is actually this Wednesday at, I think it starts at 8:00, and then it goes till like Thursday at about, I think the same. I think it goes till Thursday at 8:00. So it's like 24-hour voting or something like that.
Yeah.
And then to round out the American League, the number 8 is Josh Reddick of the Astros, and then Joey Gallo of the Rangers. And Joey Gallo's been having a pretty good season too. So, but he's been injured too. He's been on the IL, but before he went on the IL, I think he was batting like 260, and he's still putting up home run numbers too. So he's been able to get that average up and still produce the power. So definitely a little bit of a breakout for him.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of that guy that if you didn't deal with injuries, you'd be higher.
Yeah.
But and watching him crush a baseball he hits some tape measures.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then one of our deep dive, I forget who did it, but one of our deep dives for the Scorecard was on him. I think it was Marcos that did one on him.
I think it was Marcos.
Yeah, so he did a pretty good deep dive on him, and like going over how he's made adjustments, not just doing those like the three main, I can't think of the word, but three main outcomes, like striking, hitting a home run, striking out, or walking. that's really all he was, earlier in the season. But now he's kind of developed to being a, just like even as a contact hitter too, getting on base. So.
Yeah, I agree. That was definitely like coming into the season. I feel like if there's any question mark, that was the one big thing.
Yeah. Because then there was people questioning if he was going to end up turning into like a, Jim Thome or whatever.
Yeah.
Not Jim Thome. What the hell? I mean Adam Dunn. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
But moving on to the National League, you got Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers, Christian Yelich of the Brewers, and those two guys are the top two MVP candidates right now for the National League. They've been having really good seasons. Bellinger is probably having a little bit better, but both of them are have just been unreal this season.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with Yelich, we kind of see in the AL, Mookie. He isn't having the year, compared to what he had last year. But Yelich coming after winning the MVP last year, he's been just as good, if not better.
Yeah, definitely. And then you got Ronald Acuna Jr., the Braves, Nick Markakis of the Braves, and then Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies, Albert Morra Jr. the Cubs, Jason Hayward of the Cubs, and then Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs. So the Cubs got all three of their outfielders in the final.
Joy would be happy with that one.
Yeah. Too bad he's not on, because he'd be happy about these guys, and then Javi for short.
I don't know. He'd be the main Cubs campaign person right now.
Yeah. And then just to round it out here, Jock Peterson of the Dodgers too. So
I put Blackmon as my third for that.
Okay. I'd probably go into the AL for the starting outfielders. I'd probably go definitely Trout, and I'd go Springer. I don't know, it's tough. I think I would go Meadows over Brantley. I don't know, just it's kind of tough though. Both of them are having such good seasons. They're both definitely gonna make. I think they're both definitely gonna make the All-Star game, but it's just depending on which one actually gets to start. So
out of all these, that was probably the one I struggled on the most.
Yeah.
I like Brantley and Springer a lot. I like Meadows a lot. I was kind of deciding between which Astros. I had Brantley, but I was definitely close with Springer.
Yeah. And then National League, top two are easy. The Bellinger and Yelich are definitely in, and then it's kind of tough too. I was thinking about maybe Blackmon go in there.
Yeah,
but it's probably between Blackmon and Acuna for the third starting spot.
Yeah, I was kind of on the fence of Blackmon a couple weeks ago, but he's really turned it on the last month.
Yeah, for sure. And there also is DH for the American League. It is in Cleveland, so there is going to be a DH. So JD Martinez of the Red Sox and Hunter Pence of the Rangers, which you mentioned before, having a good season. Kind of a maybe not breakout, but like kind of better season than anybody expected, really. And then Nelson Cruz of the Twins. So I think it will end up being Martinez for that wins that.
Yeah, I agree. I wanted to put Pence just because of the storyline, but I think it probably will end up being JD.
Yeah, so that rounds out, the finalists for the vote, which I said starts on Wednesday night and then goes till Thursday. So then that'll be decided for who starts the All-Star game. And then I think a couple of days after that is when they announce the reserves, and then a little bit after that is when they do the pitchers. So we're getting close to it now. So
it's almost that time. And Valley Jr. is going to be in the home run derby, which should be fun to watch.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we can talk about. Yeah, for sure. That's going to be really exciting to see him hit bombs, and then Luke Voigt wants to be in it too. So
I'd love to see that.
That'll be awesome. And who else should be? Well, I kind of wanted to see Daniel Vogelbach in it too. Like even though he hasn't had that good or great of a season after he had a great start. He was after that really good start, but now he's kind of fallen off. But he's still gonna hit bombs. It doesn't matter if he's not having a good season. He's still gonna hit bombs.
Yeah.
You know, in a home run derby. At one point I was saying I would love to see Luke Voigt against Vogelbach in the final.
I would love that.
They almost have similar like builds.
Yeah.
It's like I think Vogelbach is kind of like Luke Voigt Jr. almost.
Yeah, I agree. I'd probably go with Voigt. If I had to choose between those two, I'd probably go with Voigt.
Yeah, but that would definitely be exciting to see those two. And then, well, I think Gary Sanchez could be in it too again, because he was in it the year that Judge won, and then he actually beat Stanton in the first round. So he can definitely put on a show too.
Yeah.
And then I think Bellinger should be in it. Yelich,
Gallo, if he's healthy.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be healthy. I don't think he was going to be back until after the All-Star break. So.
Javi Baez would be fun to see in that too.
Oh yeah. Well, another one could be Pete Alonso because he's been having a really good rookie year, and well, that's kind of moving on to our next topic too. He, first half records and accomplishments that players have reached. So Pete Alonso, he just got his 27th home run today, Sunday, the day we're recording this, off of Cole Hamels, and that's now a Mets rookie record for home runs in one season. And today is only June 20. What is it? Yeah, June 23rd, and he's already got the Mets rookie record for home runs. So that's just insane.
He's going to approach Judge territory because Judge, was it 50?
52. Yeah. So he's got 27, and he's already more than halfway till Judge's record. So.
Because I love how the Mets people were a little surprised at the beginning of the year when he was on the opening day roster, but he's been unreal so far.
Yeah, and the previous record was Darryl Strawberry. He hit 26 in 1983, and no other rookie in Mets history has ever hit more than 20, or has hit 20. So, well, right now it says here according to CBS Sports.com, he's on pace for 50 through 78 games. So he would fall if he sticks to his pace. He'd fall short. He'd fall two home runs short of the record. But we'll see. I think he could definitely get close for sure.
Yeah, I mean, even there's so much baseball left. Even if he went in a slump, he still has plenty of time to catch up. And they'll give him plenty of chances too.
Yeah, and then I'm just reading here on this one article. It says only 40 players have ever hit at least 30 home runs before the All-Star break. So he can get to that and be 41st.
Definitely make Mets fans happy, given what's going on with them recently.
Yeah, the Mets. That's another. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but the Mets are just they're a laughing stock at this point. They were coming into the season with so much confidence, thinking they were going to be, contending for even the World Series. I think I heard Mets fans saying it's going to be a Subway Series this year or whatever with the Yankees and Mets. But they're not right now. The Mets are 37-41, 9 games out of first in the NL East, and 4 games back of the wild card. So that's not terrible, but. I guess we can talk about it now. But what just went down today on Sunday after the game. So I don't know if you want to start with it.
Callaway, the reporters coming after Callaway today because He left Seth Lugo in too long when it was obvious, that he wasn't getting it done. And then kind of he threw an F-bomb at a reporter and told him to get out of the clubhouse, at which point Jason Vargas also almost got in a fight and also dropped the F-bomb at the reporter. So it was kind of just, summed up how much they've struggled so far this year and just put Callaway more into a hot seat because it was obvious to say that Lugo, was laboring, he wasn't getting it done. Like we just said, they got Edwin Diaz in the offseason to bolster that bullpen. He had him at his disposal, and he didn't really use it. So I feel like today kind of just summed up, everything that's gone wrong with them.
Yeah, because that's another thing too. Like he had to be held back by his teammates. It's like that's not a good look at all to be charging after a reporter like that. Like that's just definitely not a good look, and it's making the Mets look really bad. It's like even worse than they already do.
Especially on Callaway's part too, because as the manager, you're supposed to avoid that, or at least if that happens, that's when you're supposed to, simmer it down. But he kind of just made it worse.
Yeah, so there's definitely he's definitely on a really hot seat. It's his seat is probably he probably already burned through his seat at this point.
It's probably the hottest seat on the planet right now.
Yeah, obviously just a couple days ago too. They just fired their pitching coach Dave Island, and now they have an interim pitching coach who's 82 years old. So so he's definitely not going to last too long. I don't think And there's even been rumors that maybe Joe Girardi, ex-Yankees manager, Joe Girardi will end up being their next manager if Callaway's fired. Well, when Callaway's fired at this point.
So also with that thing too, that's kind of, obviously you're gonna get agitated if someone asks you about how you use your bullpen, but like as a manager in a professional sport, that's something, you have to expect. Obviously not what you want, but people are gonna, obviously question you, especially if you're showing as much as the Mets, and that's when Callaway is supposed to control himself. Obviously, he did not do that today.
No, definitely not. This can kind of bring us back to in one of our previous episodes too. We our very own John Soupy Supowitz, he did some of his top fives. One of his was actually top 5 manager rants. He did a video on that, and some of the best ones of all time, like Earl. I think Earl Weaver got in there. He had a lot of great meltdowns, and then this is definitely another one you can add into. Maybe it wouldn't be in the top 5, but it can definitely be up there. Meltdowns.
I wish we were talking about this earlier. I wish there's a video for it, but
yeah, it'd be nice to see that. But so I talked about moving back to the first half accomplishments. There's another one that I actually wrote an article about. This guy, Kirby Yates, he got to the first half saves record for the Padres at 26. He saved 26 of 26 games in the first half of the season.
Yeah,
and that's tied with him with Heath Bell back in 2011. And I wrote kind of a deep dive on Yates about how he previous seasons he had trouble giving up home runs, and his high fly ball rate. Back in 2017, his high fly ball rate was 50 or not. Yeah, his fly ball rate was 56.2%, and his home run per 9 was 1.91. So he's definitely been able to bring that down. Now this year his ground ball his ground ball rate is 46.4%, and then his fly ball rate is definitely a lot lower than what it was back in 2017. I think it's around 30% or something like that. I forget the exact number, but he's been excelling a lot, and this year he's been the most dominant closer this year. Obviously with the the 26 saves out of 26 opportunities. So
he's been impressive so far, especially makes the Padres exciting. to watch again. Just like the stuff that you put in your article, just seeing the way he's kind of changed his pitching and how much those numbers have gone down. It's impressive what he's done so far.
The one thing that kind of helped him along was he developed a splitter last year, and his splitter that helped him decrease his home run per nine to 0.86. And the splitter, he also got 54.4% of ground balls on that. And so the splitter has been his definitely his best pitch. It definitely pairs well with his fastball, which is his fastball isn't too high on velocities. It goes around, I think, 93, 94. So he definitely needs something that can pair with that and, control. He definitely has solid control as well. Another thing was his strikeout rate this year. When you hear this, it's just crazy to think about. 45% strikeout rate this year. So only 6.7% walk rate. So that's a 38.3% K to walk rate ratio.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's just how he's been able to do it. His swinging strike rate is also 17.1%. He gets first strikes at 63.3% of the time too. So now he starts off at bat like really, really strong, getting strikes really early. So he gets ahead, and that's how he's able to be so dominant. He's just it's insane how well he's been able to keep it up, and I think he'll be able to keep it up throughout the season. And obviously, I don't think he's going to end up getting going perfect throughout the season. He's going to have a couple blown saves. He's going to have some bad days, but he'll definitely be solid, I think.
Yeah, I mean those numbers. I didn't know all those, but those. I mean, just put in perspective just how good he's been. Because starting out with that first strike is key, especially if you're the closer.
Yeah, definitely don't want to fall behind. Like if you fall behind, you can't really work as much in the zone. And if you fall behind, you're like trying to I think at that point you're trying too hard to throw in the zone, and then you can kind of put one right over the plate for somebody to hit it. So
kind of predict. Probably let him use his splitter more too.
I'm gonna mention here the single season saves record for the Padres is 53 by Trevor Hoffman in '98. I think he has a shot at getting to that. He can get. He still has about a week before the All-Star break, or a week and a half. A week and a half before the All-Star break, so he can get to maybe 28, 29 saves, somewhere around there. Depending on how the Padres play. Obviously, he can only get as many saves as they give him chances. They have to get runs and be able to have save opportunities. But if he can get to 28, somewhere 27, 28, 29, even 30 saves before the All-Star break, he has a pretty good shot at getting to that single season saves record for the Padres.
Yeah. I hope he does. I think he'll have a good shot because I think the Padres will. Yeah, I think they're still going to contend the second half.
Yeah, I think so too. And then the single season saves record for all time for for the entire league is 62 by Francisco Rodriguez in 2008. So that's definitely probably a little bit more out of reach. I don't think he has. He doesn't really have a shot at that because he would have to be even crazier in the second half to get to that because he need to have probably he probably have to have over 40 saves to get to that in the second half, which there's no way he does that.
He probably can only blow like 2 at most.
Yeah. I don't think he'll do that, so.
But Hoffman might want to be a little worried.
Yeah. So yeah, those couple records are maybe on the way to be broken with the Alonso. Judge should be worried there, and Hoffman should be worried about the saves record. So you want to go to the
the Montas.
yeah, I don't know. You can go. You want to go first on that?
Yeah, so Montas was suspended 80 games, and then he can't also pitch the postseason for taking a banned substance. And I feel like this is one that, in my opinion, really hurts the A's just because they don't have right now. They don't have Manea, and obviously Montas has been a big part, of what they've done so far. And obviously before the suspension, he was a Cy Young candidate. So how they fill that hole, is going to be interesting. And if they make it to the playoffs, that's going to be even harder. So what the A's do next, but it's also a very unfortunate thing just because he was having a breakout year, and just to have something like this happen, it's like before it broke, you're happy this guy was doing well, and he's becoming a star. Now it's kind of like, it's like, was he really this good? That type of thing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all that what you said there, and it's. I don't think they're gonna end up. I don't think they would have ended up being in the playoff race, but this definitely takes them way out of it. They're not gonna have a chance now with Montas. He was their top pitcher having a breakout year, and he had a 92 record with a 2.70 ERA, 97 strikeouts, and just 21 walks in 90 innings. So he was definitely a key for them. And then he was able to stay out of this. He could have carried them maybe to potentially another wild card game, or at least fight for one. So, definitely hard to see what guys go and do something like that. But I wish guys would just realize that if you do this, you're probably gonna get caught. You're not gonna. You're not just gonna get away with it. Like,
because I think I was because I was reading the press release earlier today, or yesterday. I kind of had the response that I didn't know that was banned substance. I just feel like kind of that's you see that happen a lot. Those are kind of guys' responses, and that may be true, but it's kind of just makes more point that you have to know what if these things are banned or not. Because if that's the case, it could have been something that could have been avoided had he done more research on it, or been more aware, I guess.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's these guys definitely need to be more aware of what substances are allowed and what's not. And then sometimes it's like they don't know what they're taking either. Like they just take something that's like their trainer's like, "Oh, take this." It's like, what, you got to know what it is first. Like,
yeah,
I think back to A-Rod. I think his second suspension, he didn't know what it was even. He just took, it was like those, I think it was like those gummies or whatever that he took.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really knew what it was even. He was like, he almost had a similar response to it too. He was like, I didn't think this was prohibited or whatever. That whole thing was just a mess.
Yeah. It kind of falls on the the trainers too, because I feel kind of that these guys trust their trainers obviously. So, but I feel like the trainers also need to be more aware because they probably do more research than the players, on that type of things, just because that's their main job. So it's kind of another thing where, what I mean, as a trainer of the team, you kind of gotta do more research on what you're giving these guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of what they're doing. Like if you definitely have to be aware of everything. You can't just aimlessly give out these whatever substances and like saying like this will help you out. Like you're going to be a better player if you take this or whatever. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like they're just blindly giving them that, and the players blindly taking it too. So it's definitely both of their faults. So the A's released a statement after it happened. They said the A's were disappointed upon learning of the suspension. We fully support MLB's joint drug prevention and treatment program, and we will welcome Frankie back after the discipline has been served. So yeah, that's kind of a. I think it's. 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 what you would think they would say. It's just, they're obviously disappointed that he's suspended, but they understand that it's, they want players to be, they want them to be suspended or whatever. Like if they do something wrong, then it should happen. So
he's gonna have to prove it when he comes back.
yeah. And then that sucks for the A's too. They've had Sean Manaea. He's been out for a while, but it's good too though. Because he's going to be back.
Yeah,
he's going to be back soon. He's on a rehab assignment. He's close to going on a rehab assignment. I think they said it was like next week he's going on a rehab assignment, so he should be back after the All-Star break.
Yeah, Mike Fiers going to have to step up here for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. We'll see what he can do. He's had some good starts here and there, like obviously the no-hitter, but I don't know if he can be that guy for the A's.
Yeah. I mean, last year, I know like it's not started happening again, but the last year, the A's pitched patchwork there on rotation with Edwin Jackson. I forget who else they had, but so we'll see if Billy Beane can do it again.
Yeah. Yeah, so anything else to add on the suspension or anything else like that?
No, I mean it's kind of it's just he was a rising star, so it's disappointing. But when he comes back, he's gonna have to prove it.
Yeah.
Which I think that'll be an interesting storyline to watch how he bounces back from this, and if obviously he's missing 80 games, so he's missing a large chunk of the rest of the season. But next year's kind of good to find the type of pitcher he is and how he deals with this the suspension.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we can go to our pitcher and hitters of the week, and you want to go first?
Yeah. So my pitcher was I'm giving the Marlins some love on this one. I'm going to apologize if I butcher his last name, but I went with Jordan Yamato. He's had 3 starts so far this year. He had 2 in the past week. His first one was against St. Louis, and he went 7 innings, struck out 7, did not allow a run. And then he pitched against Philadelphia today, and he didn't shut them out, but he still went 5 innings, struck out 7. So two starts, that's 14 Ks. I just picked him just because he's been dominant. Also, for Marlins fans, it's good to see a guy like that come up and be that successful. And it's obviously, St. Louis, that's not an easy lineup to face. And then for my hitter, I had Jordan Alvarez. He kind of made noise when he first came up a couple weeks ago because I think he homered like his first 3 straight games. But this past week he had 3 homers, he had 7 runs batted in, he had 5 extra base hits. And we touched on it earlier about Springer and Correa, but the Astros lineup is just so dangerous, and he was one of the best prospects. He's obviously made them even more. If that was even possible.
Yeah, so I'll go with my hitter next. My hitter is going to be Mike Trout, and obviously seems like every week is he has a really good week, but this week has been really good for him. And this is going to include tonight's game. Tonight's game is almost ending. It's in the 9th inning. So, well, unless he gets another at bat. So far he's been, let's see here. He's been 14 for 25 or no, 14 for 28 this week. And then obviously if he has another at bat, then we'll see. But 10 RBIs so far as well. And he's had the second most RBIs of any player this week, and he walked 4 times, 3 home runs, and he stole 1 base. So he had a really good week, and he batted over. He's been batting over 530, 520 for the week. I mean, so that's a really solid week for him, and he's gonna keep it up, and he'll be in the MVP conversation again. He always is. So he's Mike Trout. What else can I say about him? I'll go to my pitcher of the week, and just to mention here about the Trout, he could potentially get another at bat here, but right now it's bases loaded with 1 out in the top of the 9th. So and he's on deck, so he could get up again. But I'll see. I'll add to that if he gets another hit, or if he gets up again, I'll add to that his stats. And so my pitcher is going to be Masahiro Tanaka of the Yankees. Had to go with a homer pick here because he had an unreal week. Well, especially his first start on the 17th, which was Monday. He pitched against the Rays and pitched a complete game, 2-hit shutout with 10 strikeouts, only 1 walk. He just completely shut down the Rays, and the Yankees ended up sweeping the Rays in that series. And that was kind of Tanaka's breakthrough performance for the season. He had been struggling prior to that. His last start before that was against the Mets, and he gave up five runs, four of them earned in 6 2/3, and he gave up 4 runs before that against Toronto, 6 innings. So that was his June. So his first 2 starts in June, he gave up 4 runs in both, 4 earned runs in both starts. So he's definitely needed he definitely needed to step up in his next start, which he did. So, he also saved the bullpen scaling. You don't usually see complete games anymore in today's game. A lot of times teams go to the bullpen a lot quicker. And, starting pitchers have leashes and everything. All this with the openers too. Yankees have been going with openers. They had Chad Green as an opener a few times. So definitely saving the bullpen is really, really good, especially this early in the season, because the Yankees have been worked really hard in the bullpen, so they definitely need to be saved for later in the season when it's crunch time. So, and then his second start of the week was on Friday, or no, I'm sorry, it was on Saturday against the Astros. He pitched 6 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, and 1 walk. Struck out only 1 this time, but still a solid outing. He was able to get through 6 and give the Yankees a chance to win, which they did. They won 3 out of 4 against the Astros, and that's after this was a huge series for them. And then the Astros, they lost 7 straight. The Yankees won 8 straight, and the both on opposite sides of runs right now. Both of them are obviously broken today with the Astros winning, but Astros will definitely end up. They're not just because they were on a losing streak. Doesn't mean they're not good. They're gonna turn around eventually, in which maybe this game today was what turned it around for them. Started to, at least. So.
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Tanaka this week, especially because I feel like kind of the Yankees starters were struggling, and like you just said, those 2 starts, those were key. Now they'll be key, down the stretch.
Yeah, for sure. And just to add to Trout's numbers, he just got up to the plate in the 9th inning and struck out at the end of the 9th. So he didn't add any more hits to his totals, but he did strike out. So, but yeah, left the bases loaded. So, but still, he's Mike Trout. It's not no harm. The Angels also are up 6-0, so it's not really not doing anything. So.
He can't be perfect all the time.
No. Yeah, so those were our pitchers and hitters of the week. And next week we're gonna do, since the end of the month here, next week we'll do the pitchers and hitters of the month, and then the week after that will be the All-Star break. So we could probably do the pitchers and hitters of the first half even. So that'll be exciting to do that, to go back and look at who's had the best first half and all that.
Yeah, especially get us more excited for the second half too, with all with these guys to do and all the races to play out.
Yeah.
I might have another rant on the Red Sox, depending on how they can, actually play well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I guess unless you want to add something else, then that'll wrap it up.
Yeah. No, I mean, next week should be had a fun week in baseball. This week, next week should be just as entertaining.
Yeah. So that'll wrap it up. As always, I was your host, Alex Keeler, and joining me today was Jamie Gatlin. Just one guest today, and we'll be back next week for a brand new episode, and the last week before the All-Star break. So definitely going to wrap up some things for the first half, talk about some of the first half, performers, and then who's leading in MVP races and all that stuff, and kind of go over which teams are we think are going to end up finishing where they are right now, or if you think teams are definitely going to flip around a lot, and kind of predict the second half. So yeah, follow the Scorecrow on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Scorecrow, and subscribe to the YouTube, the Scorecrow. And as I said on other episodes, Soupy has his own kind of video series going with the yelling from the bench. He's had episodes pretty much every week with that, or at least every 2 weeks, I believe. So definitely check that out for new episodes of that. And also, as I said, this podcast, I've been starting to do daily episodes, so check out so maybe not every day, but a couple of days, a few days a week at least, for daily episodes, going over games of the day or big stories of the day and stuff like that. So, and then also join our new Facebook group, the Scorecrow Sports Group, and our new subreddit, Scorecrow Sports Group, and keep a lookout for new episodes coming every week. And as I said, daily episodes almost every day. So yeah, definitely, it's going to be exciting here as we get going to the All-Star break and the second half. We'll have a lot to talk about for sure. So as always, you can never have too much pod tar.